We always say that AI projects are different than like your typical software projects.
Yeah.
But we're diving into your notes today to really figure out why exactly that is.
Right.
And we're going to tackle this whole CRISPDM framework thing,
Yes.
which is supposed to be like your roadmap to navigating these AI project waters.
It is. It's a little bit like comparing, apples and oranges
What?
when you're talking about traditional software versus AI, because with traditional software, you're super, super focused on functionality.
Right.
You're thinking about, like, I'm coding up a website, I'm telling it exactly what to do step by step.
Right. Click this button and open that page, all that classic if-then-else logic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But AI, it's much more, I think experimental is a good word for it.
Okay.
Where you're really not telling it every single step. You're training a model on data, right? So it's less about, super precise instructions and more about guiding the AI to kind of like learn its own rules from the data.
So instead of like telling the bike exactly what to do, you're helping the AI learn like balance, terrain, all the factors that go into riding a bike smoothly.
Exactly. And that different approach, that reliance on data, that's really what makes AI projects so unique.
Got it. So how does this this CRISPDM framework help us wrap our heads around this whole like teaching a bike to ride, or I guess teaching an AI thing?
Yeah. So CRISPDM, which stands for Cross Industry Standard Process for Data Mining.
Catchy?
Yeah, it's our guide, right? And it breaks down AI projects into 6 key phases.
Okay.
And it all starts with business understanding.
Love it. Start at the beginning.
Right. So before we even think about algorithms, data, all that fun stuff, we need to know what we're trying to achieve, right? What's the business objective here?
So for building like, that classic recommendation engine for an online store we always talk about.
Right.
This is where we figure out what good even means, right? Like, are we going for more clicks, higher sales, repeat customers? What are we talking about?
Exactly. You have to define that because otherwise we're just sailing without a compass, right?
Okay.
So once we know kind of that North Star, that destination, then we move on to data understanding, which is all about becoming best friends with our data.
Okay.
What kind of data do we have? Where did it come from? Is it, customer purchase history? Are we talking social media activity, website clicks? Every data point kind of tells a story, and we need to listen carefully.
So we're like data detectives at this point.
Exactly.
Looking for the clues within the data itself.
You got it.
What are we trying to find? What are we uncovering here?
We're looking for patterns, trends, insights that can really help us achieve that business goal that we, defined earlier.
Right.
So maybe we notice that customers who buy, product A are also very likely to buy product B.
Interesting.
Right. That's a valuable insight for our recommendation engine.
Yeah, so it's like we're connecting the dots, like the bigger picture is starting to emerge from all of these little individual data points.
Yeah.
I imagine, though, that not all data is created equal.
Oh, absolutely not.
Right. Things can get a little messy.
It can get very messy.
In the real world.
Very messy.
So is that where this data preparation comes in?
That's exactly it. So data preparation is, some would argue the most crucial phase and often the most time-consuming.
Really?
Oh, yeah, because even, the most sophisticated AI model is only as good as the data it's trained on, right? Garbage in, garbage out.
So this is where we roll up our sleeves, and it's like we're prepping the ingredients, like we're chefs finally chopping vegetables for some gourmet meal.
I like that analogy, yeah.
What are we actually doing here?
So we're talking about handling missing data, dealing with outliers, just transforming the data into a format that our AI model can actually understand.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say we have customer reviews, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're just riddled with typos and slang that could really throw off our analysis.
Got it. So we're standardizing the format, making sure that everything is consistent and accurate.
Exactly. Okay. Precisely. We might also need to normalize numerical data, convert text to numerical representations, or even create new features by combining existing ones.
Hold on. Create new features. What does that even mean?
So let's say our online store data includes customer demographics and purchase history, right?
Okay.
We could combine those to create a new feature. We'll call it customer lifetime value, which gives us a much more, nuanced understanding of each customer's potential worth to the business.
That's fascinating. So we're not just like cleaning data. We're like actively engineering it, making it more insightful for our AI model to then use.
We're adding the spices to enhance the flavor.
Okay, I like it.
We're setting the stage for our AI to really shine. And that brings us to the heart of it all,
Guys,
coupling.
here we go.
This is
Where
where,
time.
yeah, this is where we choose the right tools for the job,
Yeah.
the algorithms that'll actually learn from all that carefully prepared data.
Okay, this is what I've been waiting for. This is where I always feel like I'm in a sci-fi movie, like the algorithm talk. So, like, break it down for me. What are we actually doing here?
So think of algorithms as like different learning styles, right? So some algorithms are really good at, finding patterns in numbers. Others are great at like understanding language.
Okay.
Others are like masters at spotting anomalies.
Interesting.
So we have to select the right algorithm based on, one, the data we have, and two, that business goal that we spent all that time defining.
Got it. So if we're trying to predict, like, customer churn
exactly
for our online store,
right,
we'd want to pick an algorithm that's like, really good at understanding those customer behavior patterns.
You got it. And, we might even experiment with like a few different algorithms.
Okay.
See which one gives us the most accurate predictions.
So it's like we're trying out different cooking techniques to see which one makes the tastiest meal or whatever.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. So we've trained our model. We think it's looking good.
Right.
How do we even know if it's any good? Like, how do we know that this thing actually works?
So that is where evaluation comes in.
Okay.
Remember how we like split our data earlier?
Yeah.
We've been training our model on one portion of the data, but now it's time to see how it performs on data it hasn't seen before.
It's like a pop quiz.
Exactly.
For the AI. Like,
yeah.
Did you actually learn this stuff?
Right.
What happens if it fails?
Right.
Like, what if our model bombs the quiz?
Then, it might be back to the drawing board.
Oh, no.
We might need to adjust the model's parameters, maybe try a different algorithm, even revisit that data preparation phase.
Interesting.
It's all about iteration and refinement.
So it's not always like a straight shot.
Oh, absolutely not. No, there's going to be bumps in the road.
We might have to, like, circle back and try again.
Absolutely.
But we're learning.
Yeah, every challenge is an opportunity to learn. That's the beauty of it.
Okay, so our model's good to go. It aced all of the tests.
Okay.
We're ready to, release it into the wild. This is where we get to show off what we built.
Well, not so fast.
Right?
Deploying an AI model is kind of like opening a new store, right?
Okay.
It takes planning, careful execution.
I see.
We need to think about how this model is going to work with like the existing systems that are already in place.
Right.
How are we going to monitor its performance? How do we make sure it's making good predictions?
Right.
Accurate predictions, but also unbiased predictions out there in the real world.
So it's one thing to build the AI in the lab. It's another thing to make sure it can actually survive out in the real world.
Thrive.
There we go. Yeah. It's got to do more than survive.
Yeah.
So it sounds like deployment, this is where the rubber really meets the road.
Yeah.
Like, we've built this thing, we've trained it, we've tested it. Now it's time to actually see it in action. But it's not like we're just setting it free in the world, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're not just
No.
Go forth and do good.
It's not like a wild animal or something. You just release it.
Right. That's a little more care than that.
It's more like, imagine you're launching like a rocket into space, right?
Okay.
You built this incredible machine, but you need mission control.
Of course.
To track its progress, make adjustments along the way, and ensure a successful mission.
Got it. So what does mission control look like for our AI model that we just, send out there?
Yeah, so it's all about monitoring and maintenance.
Okay.
So we're constantly checking for things like, have you heard of model drift?
Model drift? I don't think so.
So model drift is basically what happens when your model's performance starts to decline over time.
Why would that even happen? I feel like I just assumed that, we trained it, it's good to go. Like, why is it changing?
Yeah, it's because the real world, it changes too, right?
Oh, okay.
So customer behaviors evolve, new trends pop up, the data itself can even drift over time.
Interesting.
So a model that was trained on yesterday's data might not be so great at handling tomorrow's challenges.
So it's like we sent our rocket ship up.
Yeah.
But the atmosphere is constantly changing.
Totally.
And so we got to keep adjusting to make sure that it doesn't veer off course.
Exactly, yeah. So how do you combat model drift?
Yeah. How do we do that?
Well, there's a few strategies we can use. Okay. One is to retrain the model periodically with fresh data.
Okay.
Just make sure it's constantly learning and keeping up with the latest and greatest.
So it's like we need, software updates for our phones.
Exactly.
But this is data updates for our AI.
There you go, yeah.
Interesting.
We might also need to like go back to the model itself
Okay.
and tweak its parameters, maybe even try a different algorithm.
So we might have to, like, fine-tune the engine a little bit to
Exactly.
get that optimal performance.
Yeah.
It's really an ongoing process.
That really highlights just how like dynamic AI projects are, I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's not just like we build it and we're done. It's like this constant back and forth.
It's an iterative process, for sure.
Wow. Okay, well, this has been really, really eye-opening, this whole deep dive on CRISPDM.
Yeah.
I had no idea how much like went into it, to be honest.
It's a lot. It seems like a lot up front.
Yeah.
But really, if you break it down step by step and you understand, like you said, the why behind each phase,
Right.
it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, and it makes you realize that these are powerful tools. We should be using them responsibly.
Absolutely. Ethically.
Yeah, ethically, all of that. And, with that in mind, we're going to leave you all with this thought. As AI becomes more and more a part of our everyday lives, I think it's also important to think about the bigger picture,
Totally.
the societal impact,
What are the maybe unintended consequences of the models that we're building? How can we make sure that we're mitigating any risks?
Yeah, those are the questions, right?
Yeah, those are the questions.
Big questions.
So something to ponder
Yeah.
as you continue exploring the world of AI.
The ever-evolving world of AI.
Until next time.